And I'm about to be 80 years old. And the last thing I want to be doing on Wednesday afternoon is marching down Whitehall. But I'm going to be there because I think all of us who feel this way ought to show how we feel about this appalling man having become president of the United States. Well, when I see the roll call of organizations that are supporting the march, people like Extinction Rebellion and CND and so on, I never thought I'd find myself in that sort of company. And I haven't been on a demo for about 40 years. I think the last one, maybe longer than that, because the last one was against the Vietnam War. But I'm one of those. If I was Keir Starmer, I think I might feel obliged to do what he did and get the king to offer the invitation. But
Yes.
the rest of us don't have that responsibility to pretend that we are pleased to see Donald Trump in Britain.
Yes.
Because Donald Trump is a president, I think, arguably the most deplorable president in American history, who has brought shame on the United States. And it is a very sad day for Britain that we are now so weak as a nation that we haven't invited Trump because anybody likes him or respects him. I doubt if the king does. We've invited him because we're frightened of him. We're scared, as is the whole of Europe, about what Trump may do if we do not follow his agenda, if we displease him, if we even irritate him. I mean, look at what's happening to Brazil, one of the largest countries in the world, where Trump has imposed 50% tariffs on their goods because he's in a rage that his close friend Jair Bolsonaro, the former president, has been convicted of attempting to retain the presidency after losing the 2022 election. So what might he do to us? So in fear of Trump, we've invited him to come to Britain, or the King has, at the Prime Minister's behest. They have to do this. We don't. So some of us are going to turn out and demonstrate.
Well, interesting. You express yourself very clearly. You could hardly express yourself more strongly. The most deplorable president in American history. And we're less than a year into his second term.
Can you think of a worse one? Can you think of a man bereft of any moral compass, bereft of compassion, bereft of dignity, whose word cannot be trusted? This is a man who every day on his website, Truth Social, spews forth a torrent of lies. And truth is absolutely vital in government above all. And Trump is a stranger to truth. I think some of us who are merely citizens have a duty to stand up there and be counted. And I'm about to be 80 years old. And the last thing I want to be doing on Wednesday afternoon is marching down Whitehall. But I'm going to be there because I think all of us who feel this way ought to show how we feel about this appalling man having become president of the United States.
Yeah, I mean, you could hardly be clearer or more forceful in your condemnation of Donald Trump. We're less than a year into his second term, though, and this has been already more transformative than the entirety of his first term. I mean, leaving aside the attempt to overturn the election at the end of that term. But where do you think we're heading with Donald Trump, or America is, and the world?
Well, we don't know, and one of the things that's most frightening is he's only been president for whatever it is, eight months, less than 9 months of a 4-year term, and yet, if you think about life as it normally is lived in democracies under other American presidents, we don't think about much who's in the White House. We know who's in the White House. If they have a beautiful wife, as Jack Kennedy did, if they get if they're driven from office as with Richard Nixon, then we notice them. But most of the time, we don't think much about who's president. But one of Trump's great success, and of course he is a supreme narcissist, obsessed with himself, is that Trump makes us focus on him almost every day, wondering what this man is going to do next. And that's the way he likes it. He loves to be at the center of the stage.
Yes.
And what he may do next is very hard to say. And of course, we're all appalled. Here is the leader of the United States, the leader of the Western world for all these years, since 1945 at least, who seems obsessed with Vladimir Putin, President Putin, and who refuses to break off his love affair with Putin, even after last week's appalling provocation of the Russian drone attack on Poland.
Yes.
And we're all wondering all the time, what is this man going to do next? And I think what's important about demonstrating, what we have to keep saying, we mustn't pretend this is normal. We mustn't pretend this is the way a democracy operates.
Yes.
That terrible things are happening in the United States, and we have to understand how terrible they are.
And I do want to come back to the question of Western defence in a moment, Max, but you say you understand the Prime Minister wanting to stay on the good side of the President of the United States. He wants a better deal for the UK when it comes to trade tariffs. He may end up getting a better deal in the course of this visit. But do you believe, in seeking that better relationship and the fruits that may flow from it, that he's compromising Britain's position as a defender of the basic principles you say Trump is trampling on?
He is certainly compromising our self-respect. I think most of the British people, and the opinion polls support what I'm saying, feel ashamed of the fact that we are obliged to entertain and be nice to this man. The problem, you said, get a better deal. What we're talking about is getting a less bad deal.
Yes.
But Trump has already imposed tariffs on Britain that whole British industries, the car industry, the Scotch whisky industry, are shaking in their shoes about their future if Trump decides one morning, as he well could, to raise tariffs which were already in existence. So don't let's talk about a better deal for Britain. Let's talk about a less bad deal for Britain. No. And he rules by fear, Trump. Yeah. But at the moment, he's decided he doesn't like India. Now, India is one of the largest nations on earth, but he's imposed 50% tariffs on them. And, of course, what he's done as a result is he's pushed India towards a new relationship with China. Well, it would be wrong to overstate how the rules-based order, as people have called it, since 1945 has worked. But there have been sort of rules, and above all, a presumption against the use of force. Well, what Trump has done, he's staged a bonfire of what we've all understood to be the rules. He likes dictators. He feels comfortable with dictators. He loves insulting heads of state and indeed whole nations. Well, this is a completely new ballgame. And I say at the moment, Britain, we are a relatively weak country. Our power to do anything about Trump is the President of the United States. We can't. But what we can do is show that we understand that this is not how democracy should be, and this is not the sort of leadership of the Western world. We have got to find a new model for our own trade, for our own defense, because we can no longer rely upon the United States. This is hugely important, and we have to understand where we're at.